jump to wall and space to scramble. Guys, I'm like ridiculous right now. I have had way too much coffee today. Oh Hey everybody, I'm Gardiner, the Linux Gamer, and I just played Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's an action-adventure game developed by Crystal Dynamics, published by Square Enix, and brought to Linux by Feral Interactive. Rise of the Tomb Raider was released for Linux April 19th, 2018. I received this game from Feral for the purpose of review. Thanks guys! This video was also made possible by my amazing patrons. Their pledge means you get to see more videos like this one. If you believe in the work that I do, you can head over to Patreon and make a monthly contribution, or you can hit that subscribe button. Rise of the Tomb Raider has an aesthetic that's rooted in the real world. From the catacombs of tombs to the mountainous wooded regions, the environments are expansive and detailed. The game's lighting is equally as impressive, with HDR and exposure being emulated to approximate a real camera. Character designs are good here, especially when the game takes a moment to really show you how these characters relate to each other. My only complaint with the game world is that it can feel quite inorganic with the deliberate telegraphing of jump here, scramble there, grapple this, vault that. So yeah, let's talk about the gameplay. Exploration is a big part of Rise of the Tomb Raider, and the game feels like a satisfying mix of openness and linearity. I rarely ever felt directionless, especially given the Q key, which highlights precisely where you need to go. However, as I mentioned earlier, it's hard to get lost. The game is finely crafted to Lara and her abilities. White objects and markings signify where you need to go next. There are RPG elements in this game with the inclusion of skill points. These let you enhance your survival and combat skills. You can also craft items from scavenged materials in the world. For example, you can fashion various types of arrows from wood, feathers, grenades, poison berries, and yeah, you get the idea. Let's talk a moment about the controls, which in all honesty is my least favorite part of this title. Your input here feels about as precise as any cinematic platformer. Rise of the Tomb Raider reminds me of games like Another World or Prince of Persia, where the fluidity of the animation takes precedence over user input. And while I'm by no means knocking those titles, or this one for that matter, that's simply not how I like to experience my games. Half the fun of playing a video game to me is the responsiveness of my in-game avatar. Simply put, controlling Lara just isn't that fun. As I played through the game, I found myself growing quite displeased with the level of violence. Not just with shooting enemies, but the way in which the game seems to be preoccupied with the death of the main character. I mean, some deaths have elaborate cutscenes that feature gruesome dismemberment, but as soon as your cutscene is over, you respawn with little to no penalty for failure. Rise of the Tomb Raider relishes in putting Lara in peril, even with small things like jumping from ledge to ledge and having to press E to recover. In my opinion, it happens with such frequency that it loses any impact it might have had and just ends up being obnoxious, if not a parody of itself. I found much of the game's narrative worthy of skipping past. This is yet another example of Square Enix melodrama in my book. When I wasn't skipping cutscenes, the story here was a prime example of ludonarrative dissonance, where your actions as the player don't match up with the story the game is trying to tell. There were many times where I found myself positively exasperated by some of the ridiculous decisions cutscene Lara makes, so much so that it really tarnished my experience with the game. Rise of the Tomb Raider performed respectably on Dargo, my office PC, featuring an AMD Ryzen 7 1800X and an Nvidia GTX 970. I'm currently running version 396.18 of Nvidia's proprietary driver stack, as that's the minimum version required. For much of my time with the game, it hovered at a steady 55 to 60 frames per second. There were a few instances of diminished performance, but all in all, it generally worked great. Good job, Feral. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a mixed bag. While the gunplay and combat is solid, the uneven story, quick time events, and sluggish movement left me wanting more. Plus, the game's ghoulish celebration of abusing Lara can be a bit much for my taste. I'd recommend this game to anyone who's searching for a console shooter experience on Linux. If you're a fan of Tomb Raider and you're acclimated to the standard fare AAA violence, you'll probably have a blast with Rise of the Tomb Raider. It's available for Linux through Feral's website and Steam. Links are in the description. Have you played Rise of the Tomb Raider? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and let me know, or hit me up on Twitter at @TheLinuxGamer. You might consider supporting videos like this over on Patreon or LibrePay. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button to see more from me, the Linux Gamer. And don't forget to like and share this video with your friends, and as always, thanks for watching.